Hello, everyone. Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. Over half of American credit card holders have just decided to pull the trigger, and it is a position that they are now taking that is very scary. It actually shows where we are in the economic cycle as we curve downwards and we start looking down to the abyss. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. It actually, for a lot of people, will be. And in this case, this survey just came out, and it's from the Daily Item, this news story says that half of American cardholders now carry credit card debt, with many having no plans to pay it off. That's that trigger that people just go from, you know, using credit wisely and being able to pay it off to where sort of life gets in the way. And all of a sudden, before you know it, there's nothing that you can do to pay it off. Like all of a sudden, you're not making as much money, you're not getting as many hours. And there are a lot of people, and I remember these stories coming out in 2005, 2006, where people just all of a sudden, oh, I don't have any way of paying it off. I'm just going to carry the balance over and over. And that gets really scary because not only does it get very costly for you to pay interest when you don't pay off your balance each month, but it will also cause you to suffer. Your credit score is going to go down because, and I'll give you a little tip. And again, I'm every day for the next 7 days. We just released a course and we're giving it away for practically nothing, $39, which is the Credit Score Pro. And if you want it, the link's down below. And every day, this is a QR code if you want to use it. Every day, there's a certain amount of links available for 7 days, $39. But let me explain before I dive into this. When your utilization ratio for credit cards is very important, meaning that if you have a $1,000 available credit on your credit line, whether it be a Visa, MasterCard, or a Amex, or a Home Depot credit card, or a Macy's card, right? If you go over $333 on that, it actually dings your credit. Most people don't know that. And as something as simple as keeping that ratio down. And there are a lot of people that go, well, I've got $1,000 credit limit and I got $1,000 on there. You know, there's some things you could actually do if you're disciplined and you want to learn how to build your credit up so that you're able to take advantage of this next economic downturn, which I hope you do. You could actually extend your credit limit if they'll allow you. Say, hey, can I extend it to 3,000? Knowing that you're not going to put $1 down more on it, and then as you work to pay off that 1,000, it's actually helping your credit. I know it sounds crazy, but things as simple as that will build your credit. Also, having a diversity between credit lines and fixed loans, like a car payment, things like that, actually bolster your credit score. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Let's talk about this. Credit cards can be powerful tools to purchase things and that you need to build a strong credit history, but they could also be risky. The cost of carrying credit debt is high. Even so, more Americans, 50%, according to a new Bankrate survey data, are carrying a balance today that they have been carrying since March of 2020. With interest rates at an all-time high, you might wonder why cardholders are carrying the balance. It's not a simple answer. Economic factors like inflation, interest rates are making it hard for some Americans to make ends meet. Survey data shows that in some cases, people might be doom spending or going into debt for fun. And that is a real deal. And that's why credit card companies prey on college students, because it gets exciting. You're handed a card and all of a sudden you're like, spend away. And they do really prey on people. The sad thing is most people don't understand this. And there are a lot of people that follow this channel that would say it. Well, I don't need credit and I pay cash for everything. Well, that's great. That's a great thing. And you should. However, if you ever want to buy high ticket items like assets, like real estate that either you're going to live in or you're going to rent out and let other people pay your payments so that you build wealth, you need credit. There's absolutely no way around it. As a matter of fact, I myself purchased a car. I saved up cash to buy a Lexus for my wife. At the time, it was a 5-year-old car. We were getting it at a dealership, a Toyota dealership. It was a beautiful used certified car. I saved up the cash. It was $25,000 to buy it. I walked in there. I had the cash in my pocket. They would not sell it to me until they ran my credit. It absolutely blew my mind. There's so much here that needs to be unboxed, and the economy is turning down. But the reason why the economy ultimately crashes and we go into big housing corrections or all kinds of things like stock market corrections actually have to do with credit, because at a certain point, the stock market's also held up by margin debt. Well, when you go and start a margin account, guess what? they're checking your credit. It really all comes down to credit. And so when people have less access to debt to go and buy cars or to go and buy homes, then what happens is the prices of those asset classes fall. And that's really exciting for people like you and for me. But if you don't have your credit set up properly, you're going to be in trouble. Now, this story illustrates perfectly my point. It says Bankrate's key insights on credit card debt in 2024. One half of American cardholders carry a credit card balance from month to month. That's 50% of cardholders compared to 44% in January of 2024 and 60% in March of 2020. So you're seeing that number change pretty rapidly. It says the likelihood of having credit card debt increases with age until the boomer generation. 42% of Gen Z cardholders age 18 to 27, 53% of millennials age 28 to 43, and 60% of Gen Xers ages 44 to 59. That's me. And 48% of boomers ages 60 to 78 carry a balance month to month. Now, I personally do not carry a balance month to month. I pay off my balance every single month, and I use the credit card company's incentives for airline flight miles and all kinds of other things like cash back. And it doesn't cost me a dime. However, every once in a while, this is a little trick from the course. There's a time where every other month you leave $25. I know it sounds crazy. Just 25, pay it all off except for $25. Let it go over to the next billing cycle and get charged the interest on $25. It's going to be like less than $1. All right. But what that does is that all of a sudden causes the credit card companies to boost you up a little bit in credit. I know, because the credit card company is going to make a little money off you, but you're controlling it. How cool is that? Little tips like that can build your credit to where before you know it, you're at an 800, 850 credit score. You're walking into banks, they're going, oh my gosh, you're the only person that can qualify for a loan today. Which house do you want? What car do you want? That's one of the key takeaways that you have to take away from this channel, because I've been showing you these economic cycles, and then I'm giving you the tools to be ready for when the time comes that you want to act and take advantage of those downturns. Now, it says here, the number of Americans with credit card debt is now at a 4-year high. Now, remember, to go back, COVID, a lot of people got stimulus money and actually paid off their credit card lines. That was excellent. That was smart, right? Now we're back. See, in 2019, before COVID started, the economy was actually collapsing. It was cratering under the weight of itself. The banks were going down. It was ugly, but it wasn't in the news. And if you know anything from the last 4 years, a lot of things in the news are hidden, right? Just like this economic crash. Last week, we saw the yen carry trade with Japan coming unwound, and debt markets and stock markets around the world were reeling, and now it's all back, right? But it's really easy to see that was just right now, it's a dead cat bounce. I actually called it on Monday. I said, don't worry, tomorrow everything's gonna be fine, and all going through the week until it's not, all right? So data like this is really good to see how many people are in debt in our nation, how many people are no longer have a plan on paying it off. So that is going to, in the next few months, I'm going to be coming out with more stories, just following the news, showing you it's getting really, really bad, okay? Because it's already bad. Now it's just going to get really, really bad. All right. So it says here, 50% of credit card holders carry debt month to month, like we talked about earlier. This story goes on to say that since the beginning of 2021, however, credit card balances have been off to the races. According to Federal Reserve data, Americans owe 45% more now on their credit cards than they did in 2021. And the credit card delinquency rate is at its highest point since, guess what year? Just guess. So anyone, just type in a number. And this is really important. When you see those dates, you're like, it hasn't been this bad till back then. You got to think about what was going on back then. All right, so here's the answer. I got to find it. Awkward, Ninja. Credit card delinquency rate is now at its highest point since 2011. And you have to remember that delinquency rates from 2005, 2006 started doing this. They peaked around 2009, 2010, and they started to come down, right? So now we're backing up those those bad times. We're now jumping into those, and that delinquency rate's going to keep rising. Thank you so much to the Solar channel that gave the super chat. I really appreciate you. So it's now we're back in that mode. Okay, we're in crisis mode. Like last Monday, we haven't seen a sell-off like this since Black Monday. Even though it wasn't as big on a percentage basis, the magnitude of how it was shaking world stock markets was as bad as Black Monday of 1987. Okay, so when you start seeing this kind of stuff, you start formulating an idea and going, this is more than an opinion. We have the data to show that we are in crash mode. And that's why it's so important for you to keep your credit score high. And if you don't have, even if you've got a 720 credit score, why wouldn't you be trying to build it to an 850? Like, seriously, do you know how much money is saved when you walk into a bank over an 800 credit score? It is totally different. All right. So it says here, no generation is free from the debt burden, but the likelihood of carrying a credit card balance does rise with age before dropping with the boomer generation. 42%. Here, just type down below. What's your, are you millennial, Gen X, or Gen Zer, boomer? Let me know down below. I'm curious, especially with this title, what age groups of people are going to be watching this. All right. Because I need to learn learn more about who's watching this to see how I can do videos to help more people. Okay. It says here, perhaps unlikely, the likelihood of carrying this balance, like I said, as income falls, or sorry, let me back up. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the likelihood of carrying a balance falls as income increases. 58% of cardholders with annual household incomes under 50 grand carry a balance month to month, compared to 54% with an annual household income between 50 and 79,000. So it goes down a little bit, right? As you make more. Then check this out. 46% with an annual household income between 80,000 and 90,000 or 99,000, and 43% with annual household incomes of 100,000 plus. So it shows you right there. Sure, they're different percentages, but really anywhere between, making $0 to over 100,000, there's still pretty much half of Americans are not paying off those bills. And that is going to lead to your demise. As a matter of fact, if anyone here in this group chat has actively worked on building their credit score and seen it go up, let them know down in the comments, because it's really important. It's actually it's time consuming, and yes, you can pay a company to do it. I've seen some companies charge a boatload. I've seen some charge as little as $300 to $1,400, and people have seen amazing results. But you can do all this all yourself. Now it says here, debtors blame inflation and interest rates for making their debt burden worse. And I have to be honest with you, really it comes down to good or poor financial decisions, right? We've all been there before. I have too. I've had to make the decision that's separating what is a want and what is a need. And just now, I'm having that conversation with Mrs. Ninja. I'm concerned that there's something I want to go and get, but it's more on the want category and it's not on the need. And it's an emotional purchase. And I'm like, but if I hold on just for a little bit longer, how much cheaper am I going to be able to buy that asset for? And what can I do with my money now before I buy it? We all go through this, no matter where we are in our finance journey, right? Our credit journey. We're all going through the exact same thing, just at different levels. And that should actually make people that watch this, and do me a favor, type 1 if you've got a poor credit score and you'd actually like to raise it. Like, do me a favor, just admit it, because you got to make a stand somewhere, right? You got to, hey, this is where I'm at. And I don't want to be poor. I want to be able to access capital to make money and make wiser decisions. Look, someone's saying 1. That's cool. That is awesome. Because then once you say, hey, I want to change, then you start taking, actionable steps to make those changes. Now it says here, about a third of, or 34% of credit card debtors say that inflation has made their credit card debt burdens worse since the beginning of 2022, which is when the Fed started raising interest rates to counteract increasing inflation. Look, if you're having a hard time keeping up with your minimum payments, you've got to make your minimum payments. If you don't make your minimum payments and you make less than that, it starts putting you into a whole new category of, we're going to knock down your credit. If you have a problem with that, you can actually call your card company and say, hey, can you lower my minimum payment? Can you change a little bit? The credit card companies actually will work with you. There are so many programs out there, and it's better to be proactive than reactive when it comes to your credit score. All right, because you got to dig your way back. And once you'll see at a certain point, you'll see a bunch of people that will tell you probably down the comments below how their life completely changed. As a matter of fact, I'm no joke. I met somebody, and here it is. I'm going to do this. I'm every day for 7 days. You know that my goal is to be the greatest financial educator in the country. I'm not joking. And I've never done this before. And I talked to Dylan. I said, what we're going to do is we're going to launch a course on this. And for 7 days, we're going to put out a handful of limited amount of those links. And we're going to sell the whole course for $39. And that's the key. You know, if you're watching, by TV, just pause it and you can screenshot it. And I ran into somebody today, a subscriber and a student that actually bought this course a week ago and started putting the things to work. And he says, my credit score is already going up. It's already happening. And that's what I want to see. I want to run into you all over the country or the world. And you say, I did it. I put in the work. And you could Google this stuff if you want it all in just one class, what is it? 15 or 20 videos all together, so you can go, okay, I need to do all these steps and I'm going to crush it. Then there you go. But you can go and Google this stuff. But really, it all comes down to the first thing is you got to pay your payments on time. I know it sounds crazy. Then the next thing is you got to pay your balance off every month, right? Well, you got to get to that point. So to get to that point, you do some other actionable steps with the credit card companies or your mortgage company, and you'll be saving thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding. Like that. I watch people, and I have friends that are in the mortgage industry and the car industry, and they say, if people would just raise their credit score from a 680 to a 780 or from a 720 to an 850, and they would change it, they don't even know the thousands of dollars that they would be saving in excess fees and higher interest rates. And here we're coming into one of the greatest crashes of all time. I'm not joking. And there are some people are like, I got a 780 credit score. I'm like, how many loans do you have? I've only had 3 loans in my life. I'm like, you are not going to qualify for a house at the level that I'm talking about. Because I got a great credit score, but it's a thin binder. And underwriters are going to look at you, whether it be underwriters for a car loan or underwriters for a house loan, and go, I don't know if he's got the credit to deal with this next load. And so I hope you do. But I wanted to show you that there are 50% of Americans right now that are credit card holders that have now decided to cross over into that abyss of going, I'm not going to pay off my balance, and I don't even have a plan to do so. We're tanking. This is what it feels like. I know it sounds crazy because you don't see the media talking about it. But again, since 2015, type 2 if you understand that you're starting to see that the media is hiding a lot of things from us. Type 2 if you believe that. And once you start seeing that, it's the same way politically as what we see for financially. Here's a good comment. It is a simple concept. Buy something, pay for it. I did this at home and my business, 60 years old, out of debt, and an 840 credit score. If I don't need it, I don't buy it. Well, that's really super exciting. And people that have went through these hard times and then found good times because they were diligent with their money, that's really cool. But what I'm speaking to, and this is good that this person added this, wisdom, there are a lot of people, and age doesn't matter, that just haven't figured it out. And they get upset and angry at the credit system rather than going, you know what, I'm going to fix my credit and I'm never going to look back and I'm going to tweak my finances a little bit. And everything's going to change for me. And I'm not joking. That's how you go from being poor to being wealthy. Okay. It starts with credit. This system is a debt-based system, whether you like it or not. I hate it. But as long as I know what sandbox and the rules of the sandbox, I'm going to run the sandbox. Type 3 if you agree with that resonates in you. All I need to know is the rules. And once you know the rules, I'm going to run the sandbox. Sandbox is my sandbox, just like it's going to be your sandbox. But you got to know the rules and you got to get that credit fixed. I hope you guys have a great day. There's links down below. If they're out and the course is not $39, just wait till tomorrow. We'll put some more out. Hope you have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.